Yup. Right back on the video, man. I mean, we got.
It can help you write quickly and confidently, so you never have to slow
The
down.
Nets are already break records and they
Instant
haven't even played a game together. But yeah, man. Look. My bad for I'm eating for. Niggas gotta eat, alright? Niggas gotta eat. But, hey man, look. Y'all know we came here to do, man. Y'all know we didn't come here to do, man. We came here to get straight to the point. What we didn't come to do, man, is all that other stuff, man. With that being said, let's get right to the video.
After weeks of waiting around for the inevitable, it has finally happened. James Harden has been traded from the Houston Rockets to the Brooklyn Nets. Somehow the Nets managed to keep Kyrie in the process, wherever he's at. But in exchange for their superstar acquisition, the Nets pulled a move right out of the Clippers' book by giving away the future of their organization. A block.
Wait, what happened? I ain't gonna lie. The Rockets got some members too, though. For sure.
Right out of the Clippers' book by giving away the future of their organization. A blossoming Karis LeVert is gone, and the best young rim protector in the league in Jared Allen is gone as well. Oh, and the
that's who Jared Allen is. Bro, what the fuck? Bro, huh? There's no way this is the starting lineup. There's no fucking way. Kevin Love at point guard. Andre Drummond at power forward. Jared Allen at the sit. Fuck no.
Cavs now have 37 centers on their roster. As predictable as this trade was, it's still a blockbuster move by the Brooklyn Nets. It was pretty obvious that Harden wanted out of Houston. From ignoring league protocol to make his daily visits to the strip club, to playing uninspiring basketball with his teammates that can't stand him, to showing up to a game looking like he somehow put on 72 pounds.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
In 72 hours. James Harden's time in Houston was clearly coming to an end weeks ago. So now that the Nets have their hands on three of the most prolific offensive weapons in the league, how much success will they have this season? This trade was clearly an all-in type of deal. Brooklyn is completely set on winning a championship within the next couple of seasons. But is this even a realistic goal? And what can we expect from this Nets team? Well, I'd like to begin by showing y'all a chart of the highest scoring trios in modern NBA history. At the bottom, you have the 2006 Wizards, whose big three averaged just over 67 points per game. The 2020 Blazers make an unexpected appearance on this list at just under 70 points per game. You have the 2011 Heat, the 2015 Thunder, the Run TMC Warriors at 72.5 points per game, and rounding out the top three highest scoring trios in modern NBA history are the 2019 Warriors, the 2020 Rockets, and the 1984 Nuggets starring Kiki Do You Love Me Vandaway. But no trio in modern NBA history has averaged over 76.7 points per game. And then there's the Brooklyn Nets, who after acquiring James Harden have a big three that combines for an absurd 83 points per game. Now, of course, Harden hasn't played with the Nets yet, and we can all assume that we will see a dip in their production once they have to share the ball more. But this number only includes Harden's 24.8 points per game he's averaged this season, as opposed to his 30+ points per game in past seasons. So this number of 83 points per game combined is very realistic, which means this trio is by far the greatest collection of scores on one team the league has ever seen. And it isn't even close. But if we take a closer look at this list of all-time scoring big threes, it's clear that just putting the ball in the hoop doesn't always lead to success throughout the season. In fact, it rarely does.
Love me some water, boy.
These 14 teams,
I'll drink some water with juice any day.
made it past the second round of the playoffs, and only one team actually won the championship that season, and that team was the 2001 Lakers.
I don't think they're
let's
next
take a
on
look at
win,
this
bro.
from a different angle. Usage. Because let's be honest, there's only one basketball on the court. And as much as I like to see Kyrie and Harden cook up a mean ISO possession,
It ain't happening.
this type of basketball will not work if they want to contend for a title. Durant,
They got
Kyrie,
too many
and Harden
shooters.
combined for an average usage of 94.2%. If we look at the top 5 highest point producing big threes in modern NBA history and their usage, there is only one team that even comes close to the potential usage of this Nets team. And to no one's surprise, James Harden was on that team as well. 2 of the 3 highest usage big threes in NBA history, and James Harden is...
Hold on right quick. Niggas got eat. Oh, fuck them.
is featured in both. The Warriors being the only team to even make it to the conference finals out of these 5 teams.
What?
Okay, but what if we look strictly at the best big threes of all time? Now, this list is subjective, but
The members right here, boy. Can't forget about them members.
in my estimation, these are the best big threes in league history. Now, I'm avoiding adding great duos who had a solid third player, like Shaq, Kobe, and Derek Fisher. LeBron, AD, and honestly, it doesn't even matter. Add anyone you want as the third option. And when we look at these trios, what exactly do they have in common?
Championship.
Well, not much. Many different styles of basketball, different eras, many different all-time greats and championships won. But the one constant that remains is the role of the third option on any given big three. A role that is not easy to take on, and a role that is not welcomed by many players. We saw Chris Bosh go from a dominant first option on a young Raptors team to a third fiddle behind 2 all-time greats. Robert Parrish could have easily been one of the most dominant centers of his era, but instead took a backseat to Larry Bird and Kevin McHale.
Right.
James Worthy, similar to Parrish, spent his entire career playing whatever role the Lakers needed him to play instead of joining a less successful...
It's all about the ego with these. Them 3, they all got big egos too. I think Kyrie willing to put his ego down to be a third player though. I think he'd do it. Kyrie would for sure do it. He'll put his ego down.
Successful team and having all the touches he wanted. We just watched Klay Thompson play world-class off-ball offense in order to get his touches in a system that featured 2 of the best shooters the game has ever seen. And you want to know what all of these players received in return of their sacrifice? Championships, respect, a lasting legacy, and winning basketball. Every single one of these third options could have had a team of their own to call the shots and put up ungodly numbers. But instead, they opted into a much more selfless and rewarding option. This is the key to a successful big three, and it is the only way a star-studded trio will work. We have enough examples of failed experiments to know the other version of this does not work. So my question becomes, who out of these 3 all-time great offensive players is willing to take a back seat? Because no matter how you split it, one of them will have to. I don't see it being Kevin Durant, because he is probably the most willing. The whole reason why he joined the Nets in the first place is so he could be the guy on a championship contender.
He's not gonna do it.
And he's just too good to play second fiddle to anyone. And I don't see it being Kyrie or Harden, since their entire game is built around having the basketball in their hands. They are not from the same cloth as Klay Thompson or Manu Ginobili or Chris Bosh. To them, it is their world, and we are all just living in it. And a phrase that I find myself saying more and more often, you cannot just throw a bunch of talent on a team and expect to win a championship. This is not how things work. We just talked about this. In fact, I feel like we always talk about this. And yet, here the Nets are giving up 2 young and rapidly improving players as well as 4 first-round picks for a player that is looking more and more like the problem with each passing day. Think about what the Rockets organization has done to keep Harden happy. First, they bring in Dwight Howard. Dude hated it and dipped out. Then they build their entire system around Harden. Didn't work, so they blew it all up and got rid of key pieces. Then they bring in Chris Paul. Chris Paul also didn't get along with Harden, so he bounced. So they brought in Russell Westbrook, hoping him and Harden would rekindle their once strong connection. And they also go to extreme small ball to better suit Harden's playstyle because of analytics That was a mess, so they scrapped everything, got rid of Westbrook, got rid of Capella, traded for John Wall, and signed Boogie Cousins. These all look like moves to improve their team, but in reality, it was all to make their superstar happy and more successful. And
He's
what
still
does he do to
Bill.
pay the Rockets organization?
Got about
What
that.
is this? Pair this toxicity with Kyrie Irving's "the earth is flat, third eye, I'm so woke" nonsense, and you
Hey.
get a pot-
Hey. We're not gonna do that, bro. We're not gonna disrespect the woke community, alright? I don't care about what else you say about nobody else. We're not disrespecting the woke community. We're not doing that. Hell no. Don't do that.
possibly the least cohesive, nauseating, but freakishly talented duos we've ever seen. And Kevin Durant. Poor Kevin Durant. So, what do I think about this trade? I think the Nets had a bright future ahead of them with a stockpile of young talent mixed in with two megastars. They probably gave up more than they should have for a player that Houston was more than glad to get off their hands. James Harden is an absolute force on the offensive end, but they already had three players that could fill a similar role. At the end of the day, the Nets went from contenders to please God, we must win this title because we have officially gone all in on this roster. Regardless, I cannot wait to see how Durant, Kyrie, and Harden will play together once, or should
Kyrie's
I
supposed to
say
come back
if
on Saturday.
Kyrie comes back from his spiritual trip. I mean, short hiatus for personal reasons.
For a sister?
So, I'll leave y'all with something interesting.
Damn! Y'all had because he did a party with his family? Nigga, what? So that's what all this was about? All of this Kyrie stuff because he bit time with his family? Man, man, y'all got me messed up, boy. Man, what? I'm doing the same thing he doing. What you mean? Man, hit.
Showing the most accomplished trios in the NBA. This chart combines for all major accomplishments, such as championships, MVPs, scoring titles, all-star selections, defensive team selections, pretty much any meaningful accolade, and displays that number as one grand total for each NBA team's
I
best.
can't believe the NBA.
Enjoy. And as always, until next time.
Y'all be smooth busy, man. Keep y'all head up, man. I love y'all.